Hi, my name is Cynthia. I'm just at wit's end with Bank of America. I really don't know what more I can do. November of 2008, I was diagnosed with fourth-stage terminal cancer that reoccurred. It was breast cancer that I'd had for years, and unfortunately it reoccurred, and I had to be on disability to undergo treatment. I contacted Bank of America because my disability would be 6 to 10 weeks coming, and I was going to try and see if I could get money out of another retirement plan, which I did, and I paid them some money towards the mortgage, which at that point wasn't but about a month and a half behind because I had paid through December, and I didn't have any money come in for January and February. And I got some money late February or early February, and I paid them, and they assured me that they could modify my mortgage. They modified the first mortgage. Here's the paperwork showing they modified it. March 9th, I signed this contract with them, which they sent their own self-addressed FedEx envelope and an envelope for FedEx for me to return. They claimed that they did receive the paperwork back and that it was in process. I also have here a copy of the agreement, which they also was assigned to me under the modified agreement. And I also had signature page, which is also part of the agreement, which was signed and returned to them in their own envelope. I started to pay the money that I was supposed to pay, which was $1355.76, as stipulated in the modification, May 1st. But before May 1st came, on the 21st, they sent me this letter claiming the mortgage was behind. I told them, when I called them, I asked them about that. They claimed that no, that it was just a matter of the fact that the paperwork had not been processed yet. So I believed them. In the meantime, they had not even assigned my second mortgage, and I had asked them what was going on with my second mortgage modification, and then they claimed April 16th that in fact the mortgage had now been put into modification and had been signed. Well, as I paid the first mortgage, I started getting statements which made me very curious as to why it was that the mortgage that they modified still showed that it was delinquent, as though the original mortgage signed September 4th, 2007 was still in effect. I asked them about this, and they told me that, oh, it was just still a matter of time for them to get their paperwork done. So, here we come up months and months. I'm calling back and forth. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my mortgage, because they're not accepting my payments as payments. They're accepting my payments as partial payments. Finally, I received this now, and this is after I have filed bankruptcy because I owed so many people. I had to get rid of some bills because I just was not in a financial situation to pay them under the circumstances. So I figured at least I'd be able to keep my home, and I'd be able to pay my basic bills to survive. After they got that released, I guess now, they had shown in there that I owed them $10,000, even though they had modified the first mortgage. Now, on here, they're showing that the mortgage is 85/2015 past due, and that partial payments are past due of $1,466.71. Okay? I don't know what's going on with Bank of America. I continue to call them. They continue to tell me things that are obviously not true. Their automated system for months showed the loans as though they were in modification, that they were being reviewed. They even said at one point that not only was no collection being held, but in fact that they had done a workup on the mortgages and that they were going to be getting back to me. But then after weeks of me not receiving the paperwork they claimed that they sent out to me, or they were sending out to me, concerning the modification of the second mortgage and the modification now of the first mortgage, which they modified March 9, 2009, and they claimed that all of a sudden it was put back into modification March 12, 2009, which is 3 days after they accepted an offer on a modified mortgage that I had signed, sealed, and sent to them. Now, I don't know whether this was just a means of them continuing to tell me that the loans were okay, because it seems to me that that was it, because the next time I speak to them back in July, after I've been calling them months and months and months, I've been trying to have them let me at least speak with the individual who was modifying the mortgages and reviewing it, which they refused to ever let me speak with that individual and told me that they would just contact me. And they never did. They never sent the paperwork. Then they tell me, well, you know, you're behind so many thousands of dollars on your first mortgage, which they modified. And then they tell me I was so much behind on my second mortgage. They refused the payment that I tried to make on my second mortgage, telling me that I had to come up with the whole amount. After, for months and months and months, they just continued to let this go into this situation. And it was just my opinion, this was done just so that they could foreclose on me. And I don't understand what seems to be the problem. Because first of all, they were the ones who told me I could modify the mortgages based on my hardship. They were the ones who had me sign the contract with them. They were the ones that should have honored their own contract, because that's considered a breach of contract. But of course, when I speak to lawyers, it's like, oh, well, you know, it's Bank of America and they've got big money and blase skippy this. So in other words, bottom line is it would cost me a lot of money to fight them. And see, I guess that's what they count on, to be able to mess over people like me. Mess over people that have had a hardship. I didn't wake up one morning and say, hey, you know what, I'd like my cancer to reoccur 4th stage and get a death sentence. I did not do that. What happened was I got sick. I got sick to the point where I could not work. Okay? And so I tried everything. I mean, I'm actually, with me getting at least 50% of my salary, is a lot more than a lot of people are getting on disability, and it's a lot more than a lot of people are getting being unemployed. So I was capable of paying something on my mortgage. That's the reason why I made the deal with them. And then for them to just arbitrarily act as though they do not have to honor it is ridiculous. So I'm saying to people out there who have Bank of America, Countrywide, who have done this to you, you need to speak up, because this is ridiculous. I don't know what I'm going to do. And, you know, I have to sit up here and feel bad as it is about all the treatment that I've gone through, me being sick sometimes, and then I have to fight with them about their own loan, about the loan that they modified, about them deciding that we're just going to let time pass, and then we're going to just say, oh, you know, she's just delinquent. She, and, you know, like I'm some type of individual who doesn't pay my bills. You know, the bottom line is that this can happen to anyone. You can become sick, and it's ridiculous. You know, I had to go through changes with the health care, with paying ridiculous premiums for that, and everything else, and then, you know, I thought at least I had settled the situation with my mortgage. And here we go with their nonsense. And so how are you going to say that you're going to have a contract with me that you're not going to honor? I just want to know, how is it? Oh, because you're a big bank and you have big lawyers and big people to basically take advantage of people.